What's up, everyone? How y'all doing? How's
Good
the sound?
day.
Can everyone hear me? Can everyone hear Frosty?
Hope everybody's going well. Yeah, we're live. We're good to go.
Good.
Well,
Okay.
welcome to the first episode of Stack-A-Lector. Tiger and I are extremely excited about this. Hey, Dog World, Sorcerer Stan. We got a bunch of 5x5s. What's up, Michael Stacking? What's going on, Joseph Lopez? Hope you're doing well, brother.
Hi, everyone that Frosty just mentioned. Hi, baby. Thanks for coming.
You're welcome. Hope Dog World, hope you're doing well. Thanks for being here. Al, thank you so much for throwing that Stack-A-Lector stuff up there. AA, thanks for being an amazing mod. Definitely appreciate you. Thank you guys so much. Michael Stacking, again, thanks for being a mod. Appreciate it so much.
I appreciate you all for being mods to the channel, and I hope you all will enjoy this new live stream collaboration. It will be one time on Frosty's, one time on mine, repeat. So, MR, thank you for the $5 super chat. Rig Nation for life. So, what we're planning on doing, let me
hold on. I got to lay my card down.
There you go.
There you go.
Rig Nation, baby.
Oh, let me get mine. I can't. I did bring that with me on my trip. Let me find where I hid the little devil.
There you go. So we got a couple different
Rig Nations going on.
Oh, there it is.
There you go. Card carrying member, baby.
I'll put that up there. There you go.
That works. And I'll sweeten the pot a little bit. When we get to 25 likes, we'll go ahead and pick a name, and you all can either get a Stack-A-Lector sticker, or you can get a Tiger sticker, or you can get any of the specialty stickers which I've recently made. Fence sitter. It's rigged. So rigged. Rig Nation flag. Not rigged. I better not see anybody ask for that. And we got two versions of the banner for Rig Nation. And I'll bring those back on when we get to that. But welcome to the channel. Welcome to the collaborative. Stack-A-Lector is an idea that we came up with. Totally, took us by surprise. It started off with me asking Frostbyte in the very beginning to help me with tech, because I'm not so talented. And that collaborative effort with helping me get to be a better tech person for YouTube and for all of you allowed me to get a friendship started with Frostbyte, which turned out to be a really cool friendship. Now I have a BFF. So we decided, while we were also doing some other fun things, which Frostbyte can elaborate on a little more, but we went into what I had in peace dollars. I didn't want numismatic ones because I wanted something that if I die, my wife won't get taken advantage of, because everything is just weight stuff related. He likes the numismatics, and he wanted stuff for his books. And then we started doing it into other things, such as Mercury dimes. And, next thing you know, we're hanging out together more and more. And then one day we realized this is a really good idea. The symbiosis between a numismatist and a stacker, and it's was not only a friendship. Then it also became a great way for both of us to look out for each other in the avenues that we are collecting, and that's how it started. And then Frosty came up with the idea: why don't we do live streams where we can have everyone else get from the benefit from our friendship? And that's how the idea started.
Yeah,
Uh,
it's amazing to me. And now, granted, I understand that there's a pure stacker, right? There's the person who only wants to stack weight, and we're going to include. It's never going to be pure numismatic. It's never going to be pure stacking. It's going to be leaning towards stacking with a numismatic flair, because it's extremely important to help people understand what they have. I used the 1996 ASE and the tube of them that I talked to somebody about, and they didn't really understand what they had. But again, it's one of those things where if you can understand the items that you're stacking, or maybe your grandfather stacked, or maybe it's your father or mother that stacked, and you really want to understand, this will give us not only an opportunity to explain what it is as far as your numismatic aspect, but really talk about stacking and the different laws that have happened over the years that have put us in situations, and what can we do, and how do you protect yourself, and how do you stack smartly. Um, Collaborations with other channels, right? This isn't just about Tiger and I. This is about building a community of people and making sure we give good information. And so we've talked to a large number of people who've offered to come on stream. We've got some great moderators that are in line right now, and just a really neat family of people. So we figured it was a no-brainer to pull the resources and develop this for the community, right? Not just us. Tiger and I can do this all the time. We can sit and chit chat and talk tech and talk stacking and talk legal and policy and legislation, but we really want to share this with you. And so, thank you for joining the first episode. We got a pretty cool topic, I think, that you guys will enjoy. So we'll get to that here in a little while.
yeah, it was really really awesome. And to be honest with you, Frosty and I have literally spent hours just hanging out on in the internet world. I've kind of used the StreamYard. It's kind of like a Zoom. Oh, let me hop in here. Hi, Amy Harrell, MetalMed. Thank you very much for your $10 super chat. I really appreciate it. And I had the best time putting everyone's package together, but I really enjoyed having to send yours. When I sent the 5 ounce, I remembered 2 Christmases ago, you hopped on Yankees channel, you got on his phone, and you called me out at that particular time. I never forgot that, and I appreciate it. And you've been my buddy ever since that day. So thank you, and everyone else that got a chance to win on the New Year's Eve party. Congratulations. Everything has been sent except one person who notified me they wanted to upgrade their winning to a poured product, which I have yet to make. That person knows who they are when we can talk on email. So this channel is a little bit about what we do, but it's mainly for you, to teach you all you can have the opposite type of collector than what you are and still have something that will allow you to grow your stack the way you want to, and it doesn't have to be a my way or their way. It can be a collaborative. But we're also going to talk about other subjects that will help all of you. It's mainly about you. So bring your questions, bring your opinions. um Frosty and I are both of the mindset we don't hold anyone down for their opinion. You don't have to agree with us. The only thing we both ask is show respect. Hey, Lisa Anderson, Michael Stacking, Joseph Lopez, OC Stacker, Bellows Forge. So,
What's going on, OC? Hey, William E says, will you guys be selling in the future? Not likely. If we sell something, it'll be to do something with the channel. Maybe we'll do a conglomeration of pulling together for supporting St. Jude or Wounded Warriors or something of that nature.
mhm.
There may be individual things where we do stuff like that. North Star Stacker will welcome. This is our first Stack-A-Lector episode. So thank you so much for joining us. Appreciate you being here. But this isn't about making money for us. This is about information dissemination. This is about making sure that you guys have good information and that we look at questions that you have, right? We're going to have time in the chat to ask questions and identify those things. Do some giveaways, talk about, legislation that's being released, whether it be, Texas, whether it be West Virginia. Have guests on and talk about items that are affecting every one of us in the day in and day out, the regular routine of life, right? So we're going to be talking about a whole bunch of things. What we've saw though, and Tiger and I talked a lot about this before, because a lot of people are like, oh, well, you're doing something somebody else has done. Well, we really haven't seen done, or I say not necessarily seen it this way. It has been done. But is the real pairing of stacking and numismatics, really looking at strategies and asking some hard questions. What's selling right now? What are people buying right now? Sometimes it's going to be down on me, right? Sometimes numismatics are just not going to be the thing you want to do. Sometimes they are. Watched some interviews the other day, and they were talking about numismatics are actually people are really buying the collectibles right now because they want to finish items, or they want to collect certain elements, or there's new stackable items out there. So the collector side of stacking. So sometimes as the prices go up, people shift their items. They shift the things that they're looking for, right? So we'll be talking about a whole bunch of different stuff. And again, Tiger and I have a lot of experience in finance, but we're not finance experts. We're not going to be giving advice. If we say something that sounds like advice, understand we're just talking, right? We can't give financial advice. We're not accredited to do so. So we will talk about things. We'll talk about our ideas. We'll talk about how we feel about things. Just be clear that we will never tell you exactly what you need to do, just because we don't have that authority to do so. It's your money. You manage your money. And don't take us as the sole resource. There's a lot of great channels out there with a lot of good information. But anyway, yeah, that's what we're about. So we hope you enjoy this. Tiger, you want to go ahead and let's kick off our topic for today?
Kick off the topic.
Kick off the topic. Woohoo! I like technology.
I like when you do the technology.
Fun. I like those. If you guys like the little stuff that we kind of surprise you with and have the little animations as we're moving from segment to segment, let us know. This is new for us, so we're learning a lot of new things. So if you like something, let us know. If you can't stand something, let us know. If you have questions, let us know. The biggest thing here is going to be talking, right? We want to know what you think. So Tiger, why don't we go ahead and hit? Hey, thanks, El, for throwing Bifrost channel in there. I appreciate you.
You beat me to it. I was waiting for you to die down. I was going to do that, but you did it. Thank you.
So Tiger, why don't you kick off a little bit about 6102?
Oh, okay. Executive Order 6102, done by Franklin Delano Roosevelt. And it was during a time that our currency was getting worse and worse. From what I've read, it was because of the Roaring Twenties then came to an abrupt halt, and they needed to back the money up with sound money. This was following a lot of issues, including the 1907 push by the government to manipulate the people to ask the government to be the only source of the paper currency. Then later the order from Woodrow Wilson to create the Federal Reserve. After the Federal Reserve was created, there was a 50% drop in the value of the Federal Reserve. The Roaring Twenties, where people tried to live well above their means, and then the removal of the credit from the people and the crash that had happened. So they needed a way to prop up the dollar. Subsequently, Executive Order 6102, signed by Franklin Delano Roosevelt in 1933, was done. It's the funny thing about it is that executive orders aren't law, but yet they're still enforced by law. I don't really understood that part to this very day, but it encouraged people to give up their gold in exchange for fiat currency. At that time, fiat currency was approximately $20 per 1 ounce of gold. The very next year, 1934, they revalued gold at $35 an ounce. A lot of people did turn in their gold. A lot of people shipped it out because they thought it was not a good thing that was going on, and they were turned out to be right. A lot of it was shipped over to Europe and put away in hiding. There was only a few exceptions to the executive order. People who had gotten numismatic collectibles were exempt. Dentists were exempt because they needed the gold for teeth. Jewelers, they needed the gold for their work, and that continued until years later, when Nixon in 1971 took us completely off the dollar, which even worsened our inflation. And then it came to President Gerald Ford. I released a video on December 31st, 2024, for the 50-year anniversary of gold being given back to the people. And I've been in touch with a lot of different people as I'm continuing to research this. But Gerald Ford released a new executive order, I believe it's 11825. At this point, I'm going to let Frosty take over.
So real quick, 949 just dropped a $5 super chat. So thank you so much.
Thank you, 949.
Definitely appreciate the support. So again, when we're talking about, so let me go back and revisit something that Tiger stated. So he stated the difference between an executive order and a law. So an executive order is the ability of the president to do one thing, and that's issue things like a rule, a regulation, or an instruction. Okay. Now they have a binding force in which the federal agencies have to act on, but they don't require Congress. Okay. So the problem with the executive orders are, one, subject to judicial and interpretation, right? So you issue an order, people go back and they look at policies and they go, well, what does this mean for us? So an executive order can be very specific, or it can be kind of taken with a little bit of salt, so to say. Whereas an act or a law is totally different. Like it's defined, it's very clear. Sometimes there's loopholes present, obviously, but it has to go through Congress, it has to go through the Senate, it has to go through the House. I mean, it has to be ratified by the president, right? I mean, it's got to go through the entire wicket. It's not just the boundary of the executive order. So when you're talking about the difference, understand that an executive order can be overturned by the next coming on president. We've seen that when we look at what's happening today with President Trump coming in and superseding some of the executive orders that were issued by President Biden. So again, you'll see this executive order, you'll see this gets overwritten as that happens. Now, that's important because the executive order 11825, which is what Tiger talked about, and by the courts, Neil, that's correct. 11825 was an executive order that became law. So that actually ended up becoming public law 93-373. It was 88 statute 445, and it basically repealed 6102. Now, it also repealed a bunch of other items within that. So it also repealed some segments of 66 or 6260 that was done August 28th of 33. It included 6359, 6556, 6560, 10896. So there were a whole bunch of other executive orders that had happened that either in some segment or in its entirety were revoked. Now, Section 2 talks about the revocation of that, where they talk about in whole or in part, this executive order is to be done. Now, again, when it became law, the courts review it, as Neil said earlier. When it became law, it's no longer something that can just be thrown over by an executive order. So it's important to have that into place. So with that, let's go over a couple of things that happened during this time frame. So that happened December 31st of 1974. Okay, that was public law 93-373. Now, on October 28th of 1977, Congress removed the presidency authority to regulate gold transactions with the exception of a national emergency. Now, war does not count for that, okay? October 28th, 77, public law 95-107 or 147, chapter 4, section substratification 91, and there's a whole bunch of other numbers out there. It basically became USC 31 463, indicated that the 1933 joint resolution was that parties could include so-called gold clauses in contract. And this is, a lot of people get this mistaken for what that actually means. This means that they can actually put gold as a payable or gold as a contractual obligation. Now, this happens more in business than it does in private sector. But this was further defined in 85 by Ronald Reagan. And I bet a lot of people aren't familiar with this. Ronald Reagan actually put into law the Gold Bullion Coin Act, which is now as the American Gold Eagle. So what that actually meant to say was that newly mined domestic sources could produce gold coins. And again, the gold coin that was produced from this is the American Eagle. And obviously it's become one of the most famous gold coins ever to be had. So with that being said, with that understanding that this executive order became public law, and with that public law now shifting to you can put it under contract. It's no longer necessarily under the executive power of the presidency to overturn that law. You can still do it, but there's a legal aspect of that. Tiger wants to talk a little bit about.
Hold on, let me stop that phone. Why is it not stopping? There it is. Sorry about that.
Work call, I'm sure.
It's a recruiter. They always call me at the worst possible times.
Yeah, so the coin that he's showing right now obviously is the Gold Eagle, fabulous coin. That's a Type 2. The Type 1 has the old eagle on the back. But again,
you got it backwards. This is Type 1. Type 2 has the eagle.
Did I have it backwards?
Yeah, you said it backwards.
All right, sorry.
That's okay.
So again, it's just one of those things where kind of understanding the basic premise and the pretense of what happened during that time frame. So now Tiger said he wanted to talk about something. Yes, 949 it does. Specifically regarding somebody he's been able to communicate with, and actually one of his educators on this subject. You want to go ahead and drill into that?
Are you talking about the interview I had?
Well, talking about the discussion on uh, there potentially being a loophole.
Yes. The person that I had talked to and that person's staff was talking about there being a loophole in President Ford's executive order. And I haven't had the chance to get my hands on it. They sent it to me. It's sitting in my email, waiting for me to have the freedom to read it and put it to memory. I'm actually toying with the idea of actually including that in an educational video for everyone out there, because we all need to know, is there a loophole? Is there not a loophole? I'm also going to get Frosty to send me those documents that he's just mentioned during this live stream, so I can look at that and make a more thorough video about the executive order, this one, executive order, that one. Are we entitled to have gold? Can they repeal it? Is there a loophole that's going to take it away from us? Will there be an overt confiscation? Then the other thing is, let's say uh, whether there is a loophole or there's not a loophole, and the laws that Frosty mentioned are accurate, which his research is usually spot on, so I have no reason to doubt him. But there is one component that we always have to keep in mind: the mentality of domestic. Help me out here if I say this wrong. Domestic domain, where the government feels that if they have to have whatever, they can make a law, a brand new law, that then they're going to impose upon us, whether that's overt confiscation of precious metals or whatever it is that they want to try to take from us, land, whatever. Um, the question is, would they actually do that? Because if they go beyond a certain level, we will probably push back, as was noted with the last election. There was the Democratic side of the fence did not see it coming. They did not see the number of people that went up in arms, and the election, in my mind, was an overt explanation of the people being unhappy with the things that had been run the way they had been run. If we don't have that pop-off valve, we might end up in a civil war. So will the government do something like that? Are they going to take the risk? Or are they going to try to do things sneaky over a period of decades, like they have been over the devaluation of our currency? Um, so the person I talked to believes that the government can and will do an overt confiscation. And they're, like many people, are firm believers that only pre-33 will last. Some people believe that pre-33 can be attacked attacked just as much as non-pre-33. So some people believe in only getting pre-33. Some people believe in only getting slabs. I don't have very many slabs. I do have a good bit of pre-33, somewhat because of this whole confiscation thing. But honestly, there's also some talk. I got to get my hands on that research too. That foreign gold is now exempt based upon an executive order by John F. Kennedy, and I've got to get my hands on that to bring together to a view. But the question is do we have protection? Do we not have protection? The reason I collect a lot of pre-33 somewhat is because of confiscation ideas. But I have to admit that the larger reason I collect pre-33 is because it makes me feel closer to my grandfather, who I believe was born in 1891. He was carrying around this stuff: constitutional silver, constitutional gold. This is the stuff they carried. In addition to the silver certificates, gold certificates, and they could exchange it back and forth. So I will be doing a further dive into this. Frosty's done a big dive onto it. I want to get my hands on it so I can tell people that, yes, I've read this stuff too. Here's my take on it and that whole thing. Your turn.
I just want to point out, Steve said 90% of my stack is silver and 10% is gold. That's a good balance, right? And again, that balance, when you talk about the GSR, that balance will change depending upon that gold to silver ratio and your wealth, right? So we'll hear Yankee talk about his stacking strategy, and if you have so much money, what you should be putting it into. But just because you stack silver and gold doesn't mean that's the only options that are out there. I've listened to other parties talk about, matter of fact, Seeker talked about it the other day when he was talking about diversifying portfolio and about being pro or anti Bitcoin, or just other styles of money in that genre. And so, the whole purpose behind stacking, collecting, anything like that, whether it be stocks, bonds, mutual funds, whether it be digital currency, whether it be something like that. Neil loves platinum, right?
Oh, he does.
Yeah. And so when you're looking at stacking that, number one, be informed. That's going to be your big thing. Be informed, right? Understand what you have. Now, when we're talking about confiscation, that's a little bit different because the only people, there's really nobody who knows the answer to this. It's all hyperbole. It's all guess, because the potential is there for a number of things to happen. Okay. There's a great number of factors that come into play. Now, I just talked about that public law that came into effect where the executive could step in and do something in the case of a national emergency. There are provisions for that. Now, there's also executive orders that can be done with the advent of law. Okay, now here's why. Obamacare. How many people remember that train wreck? Okay.
I still live that train wreck.
Okay. Well, and again, anybody who works in the medical field should know that. Okay. And so, Steve, neither am I. But the point is that when Trump came through, he utilized executive orders to overturn some of the stupid things that happened in there and give some autonomy back to businesses. Now, it didn't undo the law. They had to actually go through and they have to, validate and verify things, and it's got to go through the courts and it's got to go through through the judicial system, and various acts and laws and all this other stuff have to be reviewed. Once that's done, they either deem the law constitutional, unconstitutional, they uphold it, or they stop it. So laws are always open to subjectivity of what the time is now. And what we live right now is going to be different in a year. It's going to be different in 2 years. It's going to be different in 5 years. So sorry, I got distracted by Welchco.
That is funny.
Yeah, sorry about that. But yeah, so there are opportunities, even with public laws, even with acts. There are opportunities the president have to put little rules and things into place. Could they implement something like this? Well, I think if they started to, there'd be an immediate challenge of whether or not this is constitutional. And what we have to do to be smart is identify what would we do in that situation. Is it going to happen? There's some people that say absolutely not. There's going to some people say absolutely. We don't, as what's your phrase? Neither I don't have the wisdom of Solomon or the omnipotence of God. Right?
Yeah, I'm not blessed with the wisdom of Solomon or the omnipotence of God.
Yeah. So again, it's one of those things that will you see this happen? Oh, who knows? But what we can do is we can make educated decisions. Now, I've seen people sitting in here saying, I can't stand crypto or Bitcoin. That's fine. It doesn't have to be part of your portfolio. The important part of a portfolio is diversification. So when you diversify your portfolio, you don't have to have everything in there. Just make sure you have a fruit basket and it's not full of tomatoes, right? You want to
Mhm.
have apples, oranges, bananas, tangerines. You want to make sure you have grapes and right. So diversify that. It doesn't matter what's in that bucket as long as it's diversified. That's the most important piece. When we're talking about confiscation, in 1933, one of the things that actually was allowed people to hold their gold was the fact that it was numismatic. It was collectible, and not just, oh, look, I have this 2.5 gram, uh, bar, and so I get to keep it because I collect gold. That didn't meet the criteria. So a lot of people, and we've talked about Yankee, we've talked about Salivate, we've talked about Lynette Zhang, we've talked about Seeker, we've talked about Surfer. There's a bunch of people who've talked about different aspects of this particular element. So who's right? Well, we'll find out. You know, do iPhones and iPads count? Not sure what you
They're
mean by
not.
that.
They won't confiscate the technology, especially because they.
Oh,
I
got you.
personally believe. I believe that they use that to
Ah, he's
keep
got jokes.
abreast on
Sorry.
us.
I said you have apples, and so he was like Apple iPads. He's got jokes. Okay, so anyway, sorry, I got distracted. Yeah, so
Okay.
well, but then again, Neil, we talk about this in the medical field, and I'm sure Tiger's heard this a number of times. We have to compare apples to apples. Well, yeah, but what apples are we comparing? Um, right? No, it's funny. 9 for 9. It was brilliant. I just wasn't. My mind wasn't there. I was worried about what I was saying. Yeah, it was a great comment though.
By the way,
That
thank you 949. It's really hard to get this guy and trick him.
Yeah, that's funny. I like that one. Um, but yeah, again, it's just it's a matter of diversification. So when we talk about this case, we talk about Neil. Neil likes um, is platinum, right? That's the big palladium platinum, and um, what's the other one that God, I can't remember his name. Osmium, right?
Yeah.
That's the other one.
Ian
That they like.
Everard, Osmium.
Yeah, Ian. There you go. So there's a lot of people who like to stack and collect certain things. But again, it's just make sure that you're using your brain. You're not going to buy stock without doing some research. Well, let me rephrase that. You shouldn't buy stock without understanding some of the specifics of the company. Aloha! Welcome, my Hawaiian brothers and sisters.
Aloha.
Hope you're doing well. Mahalo for joining. But there's a lot of opportunity, right? And so again, just make sure you do your research. You're not going to buy stock and you go in with an expression of I'm going to make $1 million on this because there's the old adage, you want to make $1 million in the stock market, start with 2. So again, just be smart about it. Do your research, and again, you listen to what we have to say, but take it for what it's worth. Do your own research. Look at other people. Put your information together, and then make an educated decision. Where we get into trouble, one of the greatest pieces of advices I've ever received was if you're going to make a decision, act. Don't react. See, when you act, it's a thought out process. You make a determination. You think about the repercussions. You think about the decision. You figure out how it's going to weigh out, and then you act upon that. When we react, it's usually to something like FOMO. That's where we make our mistakes, and that's where we make those impromptu purchases. Excuse me, the impromptu purchases that usually come back and bite us. So be careful in that regard. And that's kind of what we're leaning to here.
Yeah. Now I will tell you that I'm not a big fan of crypto. I have said that many, many times. However, I am curious. I'm a scientist, and I like to test my theories. So, with Doge being owned by Elon Musk, and he's part of the power um, of the whole cryptocurrency idea, and Trump wants to turn us into the crypto capital of the world, and he is a go-getter and a businessman, uh, and he doesn't sit on his keister very much. So I can see things moving. The question I have is this really going to be something? Is this going to be a lead in to soft shoeing us into CBDCs, just similar to 1907 when every different state and mega bank was making their own paper money, which led to like over 20,000 versions of our currency, which led to quite a nightmare. And the government let the nightmare go on so that the people would then start begging the government to take over. Or they allowed a crisis to occur. We got over 20,000 versions of crypto out there, the biggest two being Bitcoin and Ethereum. I decided that I was going to do a little, I do mean a little bit of investing. And I was going to watch it like a hawk and present information periodically to everyone out in our community, whether or not this is doing any good or not. I suspect it will be related, as in the past, to how well the stock market goes up or down, but also how Trump's administration is succeeding or failing. So I wanted to put a test to that. So I have invested some money. Wife wasn't happy about it, but she understood my reasons. And if by happen to chance it does shoot the moon, as soon as it shoots the moon, I'm getting out. And I'm going to convert it back to this stuff because it's too volatile. And if it does shoot the moon, it's proven my one point, and I'm getting out before it proves my other point that either during the Trump administration leaving because their 4 years is up, or they run into mega resistance by the opposing forces, I'm going to get out and turn it back into this stuff. But in the meantime, I can report it to everyone here in our community what my observations are. Now, I will tell you that other people are a little more economically experienced than I am. Um, Yankee being a more experienced person than I am. Uh, but I think in the overt observation of what I mentioned between Elon and Trump and them being in power and all that, it's kind of obvious to me that it's going to be a opportunity to see what happens. And if I lose it, that's okay. I was planning on losing it anyway when I made the decision. If you're going to do the crypto, you got to keep in mind you're willing to lose it.
Absolutely.
And if you get a good amount, don't hold on to the darn thing. If once you reach a certain level where you think it ain't going to do anymore, get out.
Just like you
Convert
do
it
with
to
your
this stuff.
stocks, set your limits, right? Have a plan. And that's where, again, act, don't react, right? A lot of times people will make decisions, they'll react to something going up. Yeah, exactly, AZ. Exact same as Vegas.
Yeah, it is the crypto. It is the crypto casino, and I realize that I'm doing a little bit of gambling, but um, I don't really see it so much gambling as so much science. I'm willing to do the gambling because I want to see the science and I want to report it to our community, whether you're a crypto lover or not. I'm not a crypto lover. I cannot resist experimenting, whether it's the coins that you've seen me work on my videos to prove if they're real or not, or anything else. I cannot resist science. So I had to do the experiment.
Well, and again, so there's taking uneducated risks. There's taking educated risks, and there's planning for potential, right? So there's risk in everything you do. You walk out your front door, you risk. I don't know if you guys have seen the video of the guy standing there. He gets ready to, or he's driving down the car or driving down the road. He's in his car and he's about out of gas. He's getting ready to pull in, and a tire from a big truck randomly rolls down the street and smacks the freaking gas station pump, or the truck runs into the gas station pump. I can't remember if it's a truck or a tire, and just totally wipes out the freaking pump. Right. So things can happen no matter where you're at. It doesn't matter where you're standing. It's making educated decisions. Now, if you're going to do something like Bitcoin or you're going to do something like stocks, again, don't throw more money in than you can have. Don't gamble all of your money in one place. This is where the diversification comes in. Yeah, well, exactly, JJ, right? You're looking
I
at,
agree. I agree
yeah,
that's why I don't see it as the gamble so much as I see it as a chance to, number one,
play it for
test it.
potential upside.
Well, that too, but I the itch to experiment is there. Whether it's silver, pouring silver, verification of products, or even this, I can't resist a good experiment. I was born as a scientist. I came out as a scientist. When I was a kid, I had little scientific kits that kids get. I was always messing with science. Sometimes a little bit too much. I got electrocuted a couple times, but that was me playing with different things and wiring things wrongly. It just happens, and who knows? Maybe I'll get an electrocution from crypto. I honestly think that it's going to shoot up as long as Trump and is propping up the market. And thank you, AA. I appreciate that. Uh, but I can't resist a good experiment. I'm not going in any further, but I've also gone in on 5 different versions of the stock market, all of which are metal related. Gold royalty, uh, uranium royalty, gold mining, uranium mining, and most recently, silver mining. And I watched that, and I've not put any more in than $500 a piece. I can afford to lose that. But I honestly think that's going to shoot the moon when we hit worse and worse times. And maybe also, if this whole tariff against this country and that country affects our metals, we're going to have to produce our own more. So, your turn.
No, I think you're right. Again, just looking at various questions or comments that are happening in chat, talking about credit unions being better than banks. I'm with you, Steve. I've had a credit union. I've had a couple different banks. Not to say I've had extremely bad experiences. Not every bank is horrible, but there's much more security in a credit union than there is a bank. But still, they're still open to issues. I mean, you've seen issues with credit unions, small credit unions failing and then being bought out by other ones. So again, it's one of those things. It's important to just it's know what you're doing, right? Look at Tiger does the scientific thing where he uh, buys something and tracks it and monitors it. You guys have never seen his spreadsheet, but I'm telling you, like he lists everything, the prices of the purchases that he makes, how much it's worth, um, calculates it all, tracks his inventory. Right now, it's important to be tracking that stuff. Now he does it to an extreme, but one, so you know what you have, right? It's important to understand where your investments are. But number two, and Tiger talks about this all the time. This is why I'm always referencing this with him whenever I talk about it, whether it be on my channel, whether it's a joint collaboration like we're doing now. But Tiger is the epitome of what he says he's doing. So if he says he's documenting it, he's got a label maker, he's labeling every coin. If you've ever received a coin from him, it comes with a label, tells you how much he paid for it, most likely where it came from. Like, he tracks this stuff very, very religiously. And so if you're going to do that, I don't say you have to go necessarily to that level. Ooh, that's a trivia question for somebody. I want to ask them later on. But I don't want to ask it now because then they'll just cheat and look it up on Google. But yeah, so he documents everything. He says, indicates how much it was and who it came from and where he got it. So why is that important? Well, if you're going to be doing stuff with crypto, you want to do the same thing. Understand what you bought it at. Understand what the company's valued at. Understand that the point, what was it that made you choose to do that? If you're going to throw money into osmium, for instance, understand what you paid for it. Watch the market, see if it's gone up, see if it's gone down, and make a determination. If you're going to be a long hold of silver or long hold of gold, is there a point in which you will trade? Are you going to be looking at that GSR, that gold to silver ratio? Are you going to be switching when it comes to a 60-to-1 or 50-to-1 ratio? Will you change your silver in for gold? Right? Have strategies in place. And that's basically what we're talking about when we talk about having a plan and understanding what's going on. If confiscation happens, it's going to happen. The person who has to make up their mind what they're going to do is you. Period. End of story. I will not, period, end of story, ever consult you as to what you have to do in a situation like that. That's between you and the law. That is, I am never going to mention anything in that regard. That I don't want you to tell me. I don't want to ask. Okay. That's between you. Unfortunately, most of my stuff was lost in a boating accident.
I don't know if I can believe that from a man who was a sailor.
You telling me that I have too much familiarity with the ocean? No,
if they'd believe that I'd probably have a boating accident as opposed to you.
Well, I'm not going to tell them that I had an unfortunate smelting accident.
I did have one of those.
Yeah, exactly, Welchco. I didn't say I was a good sailor. No, but again, it's just like I said, if something's going to happen, it's going to happen. What you got to do is you got to plan for your eventual outcome. So what is your goal should something happen, and have those contingencies put in place? What happens if you pass away? How is your family going to manage your stack? Where are they going to go? Who are they going to go to? So a part of this conversation is really understanding your investments and what's going to happen to your family should something happen, right? That's going to be the ultimate. That's the litmus test. If you have that stuff in place, your family's going to be better off regardless.
That makes perfectly good sense. And I never, ever, ever wanted to sell any of my metals. But I never was a good saver before waking up about metals and all that. I was horrible at saving. I believed all the stuff that the government pushed down our throats. I drank the Kool-Aid. And I was very grateful that I started saving about 3.5 years ago. And many of you know that I became septic. I had left leg cellulitis, became septic. I was in the hospital for 11 days, half that time in the ICU. And it was painful to walk. Actually, I think they gave me too much fluid. It caused me more fluid to go into the left leg because the tissue was unhealthy. And I think the fluid collected there because of which left me with a very large left leg and painful to walk on. And I had to have compression socks and ace bandages for a long time. Basically, long story made short, I didn't have an income for at least 2 months. And I sold the silver to pay my bills and keep ahead of my creditors. And I thank you, Steve, for the point. And I thank all of you for all the prayers and everything, and Frosty reaching out and having my back, and Yankee and my wife, especially my wife. But basically, I chose based upon what I watched on the markets, on my spreadsheet, watched how things had changed on the spreadsheet, which allowed me to get a more thorough idea of what was going on. I made a choice. My choice, I saw gold going up with very little volatility. And if I sold any gold, I'd have to buy it back most likely at an increased rate. I sold my silver instead. And the reason for that is real simple. Yes, silver was going up, but it has way more volatile swings. And I was hoping that maybe as I got healthy and was able to buy again, I could buy similarly to what I sold for. And so far, that's been the case. Some of which I bought a little more than what I sold for, some of which I bought a little less, some of which right at. But that watching the market and keeping an idea what is going to happen is really what made me think in today's world with the volatility and the prices of silver, I got a chance to buy back similar to what I had sold it for. And if I happen to sell it for less, it goes into a separate spreadsheet, which then goes into my capital gains or losses. And I'm going to use that for my taxes. So I don't recommend people sell what they got, but that's up to you. And I don't play the GSR. I don't try to turn this into an investment. I don't see it as an investment. I see it as wealth preservation. But in the situation where my back was to the wall, silver was a better option to sell and to get it back at similar rates. It might change in the future. Silver may shoot the moon. We don't know. In that situation, then you make other plans. Thank you, 949, for noting the spot price. So, your turn.
Yeah. Well, I'm just saying we're just about time. So let's go ahead and do, we have 38 likes. If we can get 12 more likes, there's enough people in here. There's 25 people watching. So we could
True.
get to 50, then I'll give away one of our. And then we got one of Tigers. We'll do the poker chips. We haven't done the we haven't got the Stack-A-Lector ones yet. We'll work on getting those in. But so let's go ahead and how do you want to do this? Do you want to run up a chat? Do you want to spin the non-rigged wheel, or I can spin my rigged wheel?
Let's spin yours because I'm having trouble sharing a screen currently. We got a computer problem here.
Okay, let me see if I can pull that up.
No, Frosty doesn't have chips. Frosty has flakes.
But dump bum. See, that one didn't take me any time to get. And if you don't believe me, look.
Yeah. Where'd you get that?
From Tiger.
I got one from Frosty. I didn't even know that thing existed. Frosty was talking that he needed one more win to get what he wanted. So I won something. I said, give the win to Frosty. And he started howling with laughter. And I'm like, what's he laughing about? So then, it turned out that he had that on back order or layaway or whatever you call it. And so that was coming to me. Well, then later I had one and I had that shipped off to Frosty. That way, even though he's in Texas and I'm somewhere else in the world, we can have breakfast together.
Bum. Well, hey, be entering in chat real quick, folks. Okay, let's go ahead and what do you want to do? Let's say put into chat for the next minute what you guys like to stack, and then in 1 minute we'll draw it. Because Dog World's on. We got to get over there.
Yeah, if you guys have a moment, please stop into Dog World and You. She's doing a live stream on her puppies. We can do a raid. I realize that Yankee's going to be doing his thing, but I don't think the two of them will have a time conflict. Will one of the mods throw in Dog World and You's link so that people can go over to it? Oh, Amy, God help you. I fear for the prices of Libertads and silver maples. Well, any maple. I'm grateful that I finished my monster box of maples long before any tariffs had occurred. Thank you, AA. Appreciate you. Now that's an important one, Ellie. Stacking food. You can't eat silver. Can't eat gold. You can buy it later, but in the immediate time, you need what you need. Thanks, Joseph or John Jacobs. What a mean guy. I'm not the best typer in the world, especially when I'm running buttons, being the person controlling buttons on YouTube.
All right, let's go ahead and share the screen. All right, go ahead and pull that up. We'll go ahead and run this out. First one is going to be for the 25 like giveaway, which is your choice of one of the stickers. You can choose sticker magnet. You can do it from his channel, my channel, or the Stack-A-Lector. We'll let you choose. And then the next one, are we at 50 likes yet?
Let me refresh.
43, so close.
That's
We'll
what
do
I
it
see
anyway.
is 43.
The second one is going to be for a poker chip. So let's make sure I've got all the names. I'll
Hey,
pull that one
Sean's.
more time. Oops. Get rid of those. I found an easy way to fix that. Boom. Check that out. Way easier doing it that way. All right.
Well,
So we're going to go ahead.
You'll have to show me how to do that.
Yeah. We're going to go ahead and shuffle this up. Spin it out. This is something that I need to teach some other people too. So you don't have that 45 member participant thing in there. All right. Let's go ahead and run it. Good luck, everybody.
I miss having a good share screen.
Oh, LL. Reach out to Tiger. You can choose if you want to do a Stack-A-Lector magnet or sticker, send the email to me. If you want to get one of Tiger's or you want to get one of the rigged poker chips, send it to Tiger. I'm going to go ahead and
pull me
do
up big,
one.
and I'll throw it out there for people to see.
Say that again.
Oh, I got to pull me up big. What am I telling you to pull me up big? Sorry, little brain damage there.
Okay. My mom taught me to be nice to handicapped kids.
Yeah, but you don't listen very well.
I don't. All right, well, let's go. Same offer for you. Congratulations. If you want one of mine, Tigers, we don't have the Stack-A-Lector ones yet. If you want a magnet, you can send a magnet. We'll talk to you about the ones that we have. Send us an email, and then we will go ahead and get something out depending upon what you decide to have. So congratulations. And folks, I can't tell you how much I appreciate you guys coming out and supporting our first episode of this.
I appreciate that so much.
I think we need to get more of those rigged nations so that we can have card carrying members.
How about that? That's supposed to be a card, that's supposed to be a flag, but hey, I'll roll with that.
I like that. So
where's your wheel? Or did we run them all?
there's only 2 of them, yeah.
Okay.
So All right, folks. Well, Tiger, you have any closing remarks?
Uh, Nothing more than keep your eyes open, your ears open, stack everything. The food, water, shelter, barterability, which is the silver, wealth preservation, which is the gold, protection, which is lead, and dogs. And just take care of each other and let's keep our community safe and together. We got the best community out there. Trust me, I've seen other communities out there. No one is as tight as we are, and we need to stay together. So, yeah. Well, I got an opinion on the toilet paper, which I'll explain later, Michael. So, I wish you all well and thank you all for coming.
I want to say thank you for joining us again. This is the first one. We've got some developments that we're going to do as far as um, nice visual graphics, and we'll get Tiger spun up to speed. So we'll do some nice things from that regard. If you have questions, email us. Please let us know what your concerns are. We're going to have this will be once a month. We may do it more frequently, but right now time is the determinant factor, mainly because of the traveling of Tiger. So if you have specific items or there's something come out and you really want us to talk about it, put it in chat, send us an email, let us know, and then we can coordinate something. You guys know that if you ask questions, we have zero issues making videos about it. We'll make videos about it. We'll do live streams about it. So this is about you guys. So you guys, gals, reach out to us. Let us know what it is that you guys want to see, and we will continue to do what we can. So that's all I have.
Okay.
Building your credit score. Ooh, we need a finance person.
Well, I can try to get a hold of someone to help me build my finance score. Maybe we can bring them up as an interview at one point. At one point,
We can do that.
credit
We
score is
actually,
horrible.
I'm gonna leave a teaser out there. We have some guests coming, both channels. So stay tuned.
Very
That'll
much
be all.
stay tuned.
Yeah,
Okay.
stay tuned. All right, folks. Appreciate you guys. Tiger, go
Mm.
ahead and wrap her up.
Okay. Thank you, everyone, for being here. God bless all of you. Stack, protect, take care of your family, and we'll see you in the next one. Night, everyone.